Mr. President, we recently met in Beijing. We have spoken on the phone several times. I would like to begin our meeting with the most sensitive topic, the aviation tragedy that took place in our skies. At that time, during our very first phone conversation, I not only apologized for the fact that this tragedy occurred in the skies over Russia, but I also expressed my most sincere condolences to the families of the victims. I would like to repeat and reaffirm this once again, and emphasize that, as agreed, we are providing all possible assistance to the investigation. The investigation is now nearing completion. At this stage, we can generally discuss the causes of this tragedy, this catastrophe. It was caused by several circumstances. The first is that there was a Ukrainian drone in the sky. On the night of the tragedy, we immediately intercepted 3 such drones that had crossed the border of the Russian Federation. The second reason was a technical malfunction in the Russian air defense system. The 2 missiles that were launched did not hit the aircraft directly in the sky. Had that happened, the plane would have collapsed immediately and exploded on the spot, perhaps as an act of liquidation. Instead, it was struck at a distance of about 10 meters. Therefore, the damage occurred, but most importantly, it was not caused by a direct military strike, but most likely by fragments of the missiles themselves. That is why the pilot perceived the impact as a bird strike, which he communicated to the Russian dispatcher. All of this was recorded in the so-called black boxes. It was also proposed, and this is also reflected in the black box recordings, that the pilot complete his route in Makhachkala. However, he decided to return to the base airport and then to Kazakhstan. Nevertheless, the facts remain as they are. The causes of the tragedy are fully documented. After a thorough analysis of the technical characteristics of the incident and a second-by-second study of the flight recorders, the so-called black boxes, we have determined the chain of events. We later discussed this matter with you as well. Undoubtedly, everything that is required in such tragic situations will be done by the Russian side, including compensation, and a proper legal assessment will be made of the actions of all officials involved. Of course, our words regarding this tragedy are meant as moral support for the families of the victims. In such situations, moral support can address many issues, though it can never bring back those who lost their lives as a result of this tragedy. But our duty, as I have said before, and as we agreed from the very beginning, is to provide an objective assessment of everything that happened and to determine the true causes. However, this process requires some time. To bring final closure to this tragedy will probably take a bit longer. But overall, I have shared with you what I was informed about just before our meeting. Yesterday, the day before, and even late last night, I called Moscow to ask whether there were any new details, and I have told you almost everything I know. That is the first part. Secondly, I would like to note that despite this tragedy, our mutual interests continue to align in many areas and remain very close, particularly in trade and economic cooperation. Despite all the complications related to this tragedy, our trade and economic relations have continued to grow successfully. Last year, we saw an increase of 16%, and this year we have already added another 16%. This is a very strong result. We have a very good relationship with Russia. Thanks to your personal attention to this matter, our humanitarian ties have always remained at a high level. We will discuss this further later. We are grateful to you for this and, of course, will do everything in our power to maintain this positive momentum. Naturally, regarding the situation in the region and on international platforms, our foreign ministries have always worked closely together. I hope this cooperation will not only be restored but will continue in the spirit of our relations, in the spirit of our alliance. We will never forget this. We remember the agreement that was signed not so long ago, and we will do everything within our power to fulfill its key provisions. Thank you.